Hey all YouTube friends out there. So in this video, we're gonna do a real world MPG test on my 2024 Honda Ridgeline RTL. This morning, it's Sunday morning of Labor Day weekend. I have to drive my daughter up to college, and so we are going to see what Honda states their MPGs are, if it's real. So I'm gonna take the truck down to the gas station, top it off, and we'll get this thing going. Actually, before we head down to the gas station, let's do a quick walk around. So it's an RTL 2024 model, and we are not empty. We've got some stuff in the car. She's got a couple of totes. They're packed pretty full. They're I don't know how heavy they are, but they're pretty heavy. We've got a little small refrigerator here, and in the back seat we've got a little bit more stuff in here. So you know, we're not super overloaded, but we've got a couple hundred pounds. I would think we've got a couple hundred pounds of stuff loaded into the truck. So I'm gonna actually do this test in two parts. I'm gonna set the trip A, I'm gonna set as I'm just gonna keep it running for round trip from Massachusetts to Vermont. And then trip B, I'm gonna reset when I get to the gas station. I'm gonna check the mileage when we get to Vermont. I'll fill up again, and then I'll reset the trip on the way home because the truck will be emptied out on the way home. So I'm curious to know if, you know, the MPGs will change much based on, you know, an empty truck versus a full truck. So let's get this going. I will see you again in a few minutes. Okay, so before I take off and head down to the gas station, I wanted to point out a few things. The tire pressure is set at 37 PSI all around. The tire pressure is cold right now, so obviously that'll go up as I drive, but cold tire pressure, 37 PSI. And we are not going to use eco mode. We're going to use normal mode for the whole ride because I feel like most people probably drive in normal mode anyways. So I just wanted to point out those couple of small details. All right, so the gas pump just stopped on its own. It stopped at 8.613 gallons. I am going to give it a squeeze and let it pump one extra time. There you go, and I'll do the same thing on the other end. So it took 8.982 gallons of gas. We had roughly a half tank when I started pumping. So $28.73 at $3.19 a gallon. 8.982 gallons. So I'm gonna run inside, grab myself a drink for the ride, and we will get moving. All right, so we've got the breakfast of champions here. We've got a Red Bull, and we've got a protein shake for the ride. So let's get to it. So let's get into our fuel and range, and we're on trip A. We're going to reset, and let's go to trip B. We'll reset it, even though I can do that later. Reset. All right, So as you can see, our trip meters A and B are both reset. Oops, I just turned my wipers on. Both reset. So we're gonna get this moving. It says we've got 327 miles of range. We'll see. This trip should be about 140 miles each way, roughly. Mostly highway. I'd say probably 90 miles on the highway, and then the rest are sort of, I don't want to say city driving, more like urban country road driving. So we will update you as I get moving. I'll maybe turn the camera on once or twice during the drive and give you an update on how we're doing. Talk soon. All right, so we're coming up on our on-ramp to the highway. We've done from the gas station to this on-ramp is 6.7 miles. We were doing roughly 40 to 45 miles an hour that whole way, so it wasn't, I wouldn't call it city driving, but it wasn't highway driving yet either. So anyways, so we're getting on the on-ramp to Route 495 in Massachusetts. There's a big trash bag in the middle of the road. And we will give you another update soon. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna try to keep this ride somewhere in the 70 to 75 range the whole drive. I should point that out as well. All right, we'll catch you on the next update. Okay, so we just got off of Route 495 in Mass. We are now entering Route 90 West in Massachusetts, which is, if you're from New England, you know, we call this the Mass Pike. And this is the road that I'm going to be traveling on for roughly the next 85 to 90 miles, I think. So I'm going to try to just set it on cruise control and use cruise as often as I can for this drive. 7 miles. And continue straight. I will try to set it somewhere in the 70 to 75 range the whole ride, but I'll update this at the end of the video. All right, that's it. We're on I-90 and heading to Vermont. All right, quick update. I wasn't planning to do an update at this point in the video, but I saw a Cybertruck rolling up on me from behind, so I had to roll this. Here it is. It's coming up. It's passing me on the left. Is that the ugliest looking thing I've ever seen on the road? What do you guys think? Cybertruck, yes or no? Personal opinion, that thing is ugly. Anyway, so back to the update. We're about almost 58 miles in. It says that we're getting 24.6 miles to the gallon right now on the dash, but when we get to the end of this test, we'll find out if it's accurate. Talk to you soon. All right, so quick update. I just got off of the highway, which would be Interstate 90. And from this point on, it's mostly, I don't want to say it's, it's not city driving. I'm in upstate New York and going into Vermont, but it's mostly rural roads, similar to what 7.7 miles. Similar to what you're seeing right now on screen. This trip is longer than I thought it was. Initially, I thought it was about a 140-mile ride, but it's actually more like a 175 to 180-mile ride. As you can see, my screen is telling me that I'm averaging 25.5 miles per gallon at the moment. I've done 124, a little over 124 miles thus far. It was about a little over 6 miles to get from my home to the highway. So, about 118 miles highway drive. And then the rest is mostly, rural country road. So from this point, I am going to just shut the camera off. And the next time you see me, I will be arriving at the campus of Bennington College in Vermont. Talk soon. All right, we are just about here, Bennington College. My daughter is entering her 3rd year. There's the sign.
Arrived at Bennington College.
Bennington College. Yeah, so my daughter's starting her 3rd year. And my wife and I and our 7-year-old boy and some other family, my wife's parents and her brother and a few of our friends, we're all heading up here in 2 weeks to come up and visit her for her 21st birthday. It's crazy to think where the time goes, but 21 years old. But anyways, this is the access road going up into the school. It's a really nice campus. Very, very pretty campus. There's a spot up in the campus they call, oh gosh, the end of the world they call it, and it's just this overlook, and you can just, it's just a scenic overlook, and you can see for miles and miles and miles. It's beautiful. But anyways, so as of now, I've done 170, just about 171 miles from Massachusetts, my home in Massachusetts, to campus. And it says that we are averaging 26.4 MPGs. I don't know if 26.4 is accurate. Once I get my truck unloaded, I will head to the gas station, which is a couple miles away. We will fill up and we will calculate the actual MPGs. So here we are, we're entering campus. Yeah, it's a nice little campus here. So over in that direction is where that overlook is that I was telling you about. And then, gotta remember where I'm going here. I only come up here a couple times a year, but I believe she's staying in the same dorm unit. So yeah, here it is. So we're gonna drive down here. All right, so I'm gonna kill it. And once I get unloaded, I will head over to the gas station and pick up from there. Okay, here's the moment of truth. We have arrived at the next gas stop, and it says that we've done 174 miles on the odometer, and the dash says that we're averaging 26.2 miles. So I am going to get out, fill up, and then we're going to calculate what the actual miles are. Forgot to open the fuel door. There we go. All right, the first stop is at 6.376. I'm gonna give it one extra squeeze. is. So we have used 6.647 gallons of gas at 325.9 cents a gallon. All right, let's get inside and calculate this. All right, people of YouTube, the moment of truth. And I think you're going to be surprised by what I tell you. So, from Massachusetts to Vermont, fill up to fill up, I used 6.647 gallons of gas, and I traveled exactly 174 miles. 174.0 miles. When I calculate that, it comes out actual mileage to 26.177228 miles per gallon. 2228 miles per gallon. So roughly 26.2 miles per gallon actual mileage. And to my surprise, the dashboard on the Ridgeline says that I was getting 26.2 miles per gallon. So the actual gauges in the Honda Ridgeline are pretty accurate. I'm mind blown. I thought for sure I was going to get to my destination and the dash was going to tell me one thing, but the actual mileage was going to be off by a few miles per gallon. It's nearly identical. So unbelievable. I have unloaded the truck. I'm not going to do any more footage at this point. I'm just going to drive home to Vermont. I'm going to take the same route, and I'm going to go back to the same gas station that I topped off on this morning at the beginning of my route. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to calculate the mileage and see if there's any difference in gas mileage on the return trip home with all of the weight taken out of the pickup bed. But I don't think it's going to be drastically different. I only had a couple 100 pounds back there, maybe 200 or 300 pounds of additional weight in the truck, but I'm going to do it anyways. All right, quick update before I start hitting the road and heading back to Massachusetts. I want you to see that I did reset trip B to 0 miles again, and we're going to calculate that. I'm going to leave trip A so I can see where the truck says my mileage was round trip, but I'm going to calculate the trip B as a separate return trip home. So we'll catch you on the other side of this trip. All right, everybody. So I am back at the very first gas station that I filled up at the start of this trip this morning. It's probably 7 or 8 hours ago. I'm at the same pump at the same gas station. I am gonna fill up and do one squeeze, and then we will calculate the return trip home, and then we will calculate the total round trip MPGs. All right, it says 5.831. I'm gonna give it one squeeze. Total gas used on the return trip was 6.010 gallons of gas. All right, here is the final trip destination mileage. This is the return trip home. Says that we were, says we did 156.5 miles, and the odometer says that we were averaging 26.7 miles per gallon. And then I'm going to go back to trip A because I did not reset that one. So this is a round trip mileage. And round trip, it says we did 330.5 miles. And it says on the odometer that we were averaging 26.3 MPG. So let me flip the camera around and we're going to go over everything and we're going to recap. Okay, here's the last snippet of this video. And then at the end, I'll try to write everything down or put it up on the screen what the actual mileage is so you can see it in print. But excuse me. So I'm going to recap the whole trip. So on the way to Vermont, I did mostly highway driving. I did end up taking a different route home. I had initially planned on doing the same route, but I took a more scenic route home, so the mileage is slightly different. Excuse me. So on the trip from home to Vermont, we did 174 miles even. The odometer said that we were averaging 26.2 miles per gallon, and the actual mileage was just under 26.2. It was 26.17 to 18 miles per gallon, so slightly under, but so close that I want to. It's so negligible that the odometer is probably accurate. It's probably more accurate, to be quite honest with you. On the trip home, I took more of a scenic route, less highway. We were averaging a lower speed. I was probably averaging about 10 or 12 miles per hour less on the way home than I was on the way there. So on the way home, it was a little bit less mileage also. I did 156.5 miles. The odometer says that we were averaging 26.7 miles per gallon. However, the calculated miles per gallon that I calculated with a calculator is 26.04 miles per gallon. So, like maybe a 0.3 mile per gallon difference. So I want to say it's pretty accurate. The calculated miles per gallon versus the odometer miles per gallon. Now, round trip, and I took two different routes, so this is a pretty good calculation on what you could expect on a road trip. I did 330.5 miles total, and the odometer on trip A says that we were averaging 26.3 miles per gallon round trip. I calculated based on using 12.657 gallons round trip. I calculated that we were averaging about 26.2 miles per gallon. So round trip, I was off by about 0.1.5 to 0.2 miles per gallon from what I calculated with the calculator versus what the truck says. So Honda's EPA stated MPGs is 24 miles to the gallon highway, and I found that I did a little bit better on this road trip. I did a little bit more than 2 miles per gallon better than what Honda states. So Honda's estimated EPA mileage is a little on the conservative side. It actually does a little bit better than what they state in this particular road test. So anyways, I hope that you guys found this interesting. I know that this video is going to edit out to be a fairly long video. It's probably going to be 15-20 minutes long. I hope you stick around, or I hope you stuck around to watch the whole thing. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you own a Ridgeline, has that been your experience? Has my mileage been your mileage? Anyways, that's it for this video. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video. Thanks again for watching.